Hello everyone, it's Aidan here from Push Square with our mid-year update of the best PS5 games of 2024 so far. We're doing a quarterly experiment to track the best of the best throughout the year, so you may see things jig around from our last entry. We've got ambitious sequels, stellar originals, and awesome indies to pick through here, so let's dig into the best PS5 games of 2024 so far. Still Wakes the Deep is a tight-knit horror experience from the Chinese Room, the team behind Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and this game goes hard for its setting. Aboard the Beta D, an oil rig off the coast of Scotland in 1975, you must make your way through all sorts of body horror, dank 70s decor, and plenty of crass Scottish dialect, because we love a sweary word as Scots. The Chinese Room's latest is dripping with atmosphere, and although it's a short and highly linear experience, it nails almost all of the elements that are there, from its intense chases to its impeccable attention to detail. It's nice to have a game that also develops something that doesn't overstay its welcome and truly immerses you with its highly focused experience. If you've got a couple of evenings spare, please check out Still Wakes the Deep. It's been a long ass time since we last had a Prince of Persia game, and thankfully the Lost Crown is what a lot of us were looking for. This is an incredibly dense Metroidvania that steadily doles out its new abilities to unlock and expand its labyrinthine map that covers the dark sewers and epic peaks of Mount Kaf, an area caught in some kind of time curse. As Sargon, one of the mighty immortals, you actually have to save the titular Prince of Persia as a sinister plot takes place. I really enjoyed the time-bending weirdness of this story, and you'll need to lock in with its platforming and combat, which are both very slick and tightly controlled, but can also be tough as nails in the enemies you face, the platforming challenges you'll confront, but also just coming to grips with where to go in this maze-like setting. It's one that really pushes you to invest yourself in its setting and mechanics, and it's all the better for it. After the brilliant Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PS4, we now have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second chapter in this trilogy remake, where Cloud and the gang leave the walls of Midgar in pursuit of the mysterious Sephiroth. This game has a bit of a different flavour to it from Remake, with a more open world approach in its expansive and green environment. If you're a fan of the original telling of this story, then Rebirth, like Remake before it, has iconic aspects with particular settings that will tickle your nostalgic senses, but it's also branching narratively away from the original in parts to keep things fresh and entertaining. This is certainly a bigger undertaking than what was present in Remake, but with refined combat which mixes real-time action with turn-based elements. You'll level up Cloud and his squad as you chase down Sephiroth, and it's a ton of fun. Capturing the essence of a true PS3 exclusive, Stellar Blade is a third-person hack and slash from Korean developer Shift Up, where you'll fight your way through the ruthless Naytiba in a long since conquered Earth. There's high sci-fi concepts here, as even our battalion fall from the skies to reclaim their planet, but what I loved most about this game are the vibes. You'll be traversing gorgeously realised apocalyptic settings as chill tunes play away in the background, and you come to grips with the game's flashy and twitchy combat. As you gain more abilities and learn the counters to more difficult foes, the combat becomes genuinely quite impressive, which is all the better when you face the game's tough as nails bosses. There are areas where you can explore a little further or dig into the lore a bit more if you really want to, but if you're looking for a linear game with a cool world and awesome enemies to fight, then Stellar Blade is the one. In 2023 we got Street Fighter 6, and now here in 2024 we have Tekken 8, another iconic franchise that somehow captures both the new and old of this decade-spanning franchise. With the best graphics the series has ever seen thanks to the PS5, you'll combo to your heart's content across awesome backdrops as your favourite characters from the series, and a combat system that feels familiar but has some new tricks up its sleeves. Then for those really wanting to test their mettle, you have the online arcade, which is a much more dedicated multiplayer option than what we've had in the past, where you have a little campaign for your own avatar, making a name for themselves in the competitive Tekken scene, and also dripping themselves up with some various apparel. And it's here that you can level up to earn coveted titles that immediately show off just how skilled you really are. Looking for some tactical fantasy goodness? Look no further than Unicorn Overlord. This is a gorgeous fantasy RPG from Vanillaware that'll infatuate you with its painterly art style. With over 60 unique characters ranging from humans to heavenly angels, you'll cultivate a mighty army so that you can liberate the kingdom of Cornea. Unicorn Overlord features real-time combat where you'll keep a keen eye on both sides of the battle, carefully selecting particular units and sending them to important points in the battle. It's not just grand sweeping conflicts though, as you'll also take on focused battles and build your own renown by taking on heroic deeds. This is one you can really sink yourself into. The ultimate RPG experience, Dragon's Dogma 2 is all about emergent situations when out on the road. As a noble arisen, you'll handpick a team of pawns to complete quests, slay monsters, and discover the farthest reaches of Vermont. While there's plenty to dig into with class customization, weapons and armor, the best part of Dragon's Dogma 2 is the stuff you just cannot prepare for. In your travels, you'll likely come across the pawns of other players, including your friends' pawns, who you can recruit, and then they actively impact gameplay based on their skills or experience. And then you can get seemingly random placements of enemies, where a fight with a troll can then bump into another troll, or a random dragon attack completely ruins your plans. It's a chaotic case of going with the flow that allows you to naturally generate your own experience and stories within this world, and it is awesome. Can you really believe it's been 18 years since Persona 3 launched on the PS2? Well, if you missed it back then like I did, fear not, because now we have Persona 3 Reload, a built from the ground up remake of this Atlas classic, now dripping with style with its wholly refreshed graphics. This is a much further expanded version of the original with freshly recorded dialogue, modernised gameplay, new music, all of which uses this modern take to recapture and in some instances emphasize the magic of this RPG, where you balance the life of a school student with the demon hunting Seers team. Talk about refining the formula. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, the sequel to this Yakuza spin-off series, split its setting between Yokohama and Hawaii to offer up the most diverse, balls-to-the-wall Yakuza offering to date, with Kiryu coming to grips with his cancer diagnosis and Ichiban searching for his mother in Hawaii. There's actually a fairly emotional story at the heart of this experience, peppered throughout with its mastered turn-based combat and Goliath collection of weird and wonderful minigames. Then for those looking for even more from this game, there's a whole ass management island sim experience called Dondoko Island, which is honestly like another full game just stuffed into an already packed experience. It came out earlier this year, but Helldivers 2 has continued to impress us and is crowned your mid-year game of the year. Helldivers 2 took the world by storm back in February and managed to sell 12 million units in 12 weeks across both PS5 and PC, even outselling Spider-Man 2 in a shorter period of time. Now, I don't think anyone was quite prepared for the success of Helldivers 2, with its chaotic co-op action being exactly what players were looking for apparently. As you draw upon a collection of planets filled with goopy Terminids or killer robots, you'll spread democracy with a handful of weapons and unique stratagems, which certainly keep things fresh. But the true secret sauce of this game's manic gameplay, I think, is how squishy and vulnerable your very own Helldiver is. This is the game where accidental headshots, rogue grenades, and even the measliest of enemies can take you out in a heartbeat, and it makes the gameplay all the more engaging, tense, and utterly hilarious. We'll see though if it stands the test of time as we look towards our next Game of the Year video, and I'm hoping for some more substantial post-launch content from Arrowhead Studios in the second half of the year, but as it stands, this is a truly phenomenal experience on the PS5. So there you have it, 10 of the best PS5 games of 2024 so far. As I said, this is a quarterly series, so tune in to see how things have shifted when our next part drops in roughly September-October time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please do let me know your own personal Game of the Year picks down in the comments below. But until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.